Good afternoon. My name is James Britton, and today I'm interviewing Warren Duncan Jenny, who was born on December 8, 1944. We are joined by his wife, Jeannie Hayes, Brandon Crook, Carmen Valenzuela, Ruth Snow, and our videographer, Udo Dussling. Warren Jenny was a petty officer 3rd class in the United States Navy. He was stationed at Coronado Naval Base and served in the Vietnam War Theater. Hello, Warren.
Hello,
Would you go ahead and introduce yourself for us?
my name is Warren Jenny.
How old are you, Warren?
77 or 78, I can't remember.
Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Beaumont, Texas.
How long did y'all live in Beaumont?
Well, my dad worked for Halliburton, and he got put over to Houston, and so Houston is what I call home.
All right.
I mean, I've been there since I was probably 3 or 4. You know, so Houston's to me.
Tell me a story of you growing up in Houston and that of your family.
Well, I found out, my mom was a teacher, okay? And I graduated from high school when I was 16. And then I went to college for a couple of years. But then I'm on the way home, I'm 18, and I don't have to ask my parents if I can join the Navy.
Well, where did you go to college?
Oh, Lord, I can't remember. My wife said.
Do I remember, is it Stephen F. Austin?
Stephen F. Austin. That's
State
it.
University. What did your family say when you had made the decision that you were going to leave school to join the war effort?
My mom was not happy. My dad said, "This doesn't surprise me at all." But he took me down to the Navy place, and I became a Navy guy, and I was already a scuba diver at that time. Well, when I was filling out the papers to join the Navy, there was a little thing on there, what do you like to do? And I said, scuba diving. Mm-hmm. Well, that was the end of anything that the Navy wanted me to do.
Was your love of scuba diving the reason you decided to join the Navy specifically?
No.
What made you choose the Navy?
I wanted to be a radarman or an electrician or something.
Okay.
But the Navy had a little different. And so I just continued diving. And back then, diving was completely different than it is now, needless to say. But the other side of that is I'm really glad that it did happen, and I don't have a problem with that.
Were you assigned to shore duty in the Navy, or were you stationed on a boat?
Usually a boat. You talking about a ship?
A ship. Were you stationed on a ship?
Yes. But I was also on a boat. They decided in 1964 or 65, whenever they started them, when Vietnam started breaking open, the first gunboats that they sent over there were swift boats, PCFs, okay? And they decided that they wanted a frog on each boat. So they sent...
What is a frog?
Oh, that's what I did. I was a Navy frog.
Okay.
I was UDT, Underwater Demolition Team.
We
were commonly called frogmen.
What does someone that is assigned to UDT do?
I'm sorry?
What does someone who is a frogman do?
Well, you go underwater and you deliver little presents to your enemies, because your enemies are as under the water as we are.
Okay.
And they would slide around, and when a ship would go by, they put a little present on it. And they'd get out of the water and push a button, and boom, the ship goes down. Hello? So,
Did you have a specialty with UDT?
no. But after I'd been in Vietnam for 3 years, I had been injured twice. I got blown up twice. I got shot right here, and I got shot right here. And they said, okay, that's enough. You don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to go back to Vietnam. I said, well, you're not kicking me out of the Navy, are you? Oh, no, we got another job for you. So they sent me to the, what's the name of it?
University of Houston Electrician School.
Oh, well, yeah, they did send me that. They decided they were going to make me an electrician.
Okay.
And anyway, I was a diver, and so I ended up at the Johnson Space Center training astronauts in a weightless environment in a swimming pool the size of a football field, 67 feet deep.
All right.
And I don't have a problem with that. I'd go to work at 7 o'clock and I'd be at home at 11:30. Think about that a second. It is what it is, man.
Tell us about some of your experiences doing that work at Johnson Space Center.
It was a great job. It really was. As a matter of fact, there was a lot of people that wanted to do it, and they're afraid of it. They were afraid of going underwater.
When did you find out that the war had ended?
What's that?
When did you find out that the Vietnam War ended?
Oh, well, I went over in 65, and in 68, after I'd been injured twice, when I got out of the hospital, I said, well, when am I supposed to go back to get... Oh, you're not going back to Vietnam except to get your gear. I said, where am I going now? Well, you're going to go for a 30-day leave, and then after that, you'll get a letter to tell you what you're going to do. Well, sure enough, I did. I go to the NASA in Houston, which is where I'm from. And I thought, well, what are they going to do now? Make me an astronaut? You know, that's what went through my head. And I went out there and they said, jump in the car. We're going to show you your new job. And they drove me in up to a they're the Dementia.
Stories?
4-story, thank you. 4-story building, the size of 1 square block. And I walked in, as soon as I walked in, I smelled chlorine. And there's a swimming pool the size of a football field, 65 feet deep. And she said, this is your new job. My God, what am I going to do here? You could go train astronauts. All right. And that's where I retired from.
When you returned from Vietnam, how did people treat returning service members?
Not too well. Let me put it that way. The good part about being in Vietnam, for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but I learned what karate was when I was there. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I was a boxer before I ever got there. And I loved to box. To me, it was a good thing to do. And then I found out what... Anyway, so I came home and I think I was probably a brown belt at that time, and I actually started training, and when I quit, I was a sixth, here's the word, I can't say it,
Sixth degree?
fourth degree.
Fourth degree.
Yeah, black belt, you know, and actually I trained astronauts in a weightless environment at NASA in Houston, which was 7 miles from where I was born and raised. Hello.
I understand that when you returned from Vietnam, you had met your wife, Jeannie.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
She's sitting over there. you know what the word dementia means? Okay, let me put it this way. I'm also a dancer. I love to dance. And I went to a place that I had never even heard of in Houston, and that's when I met Jeannie. And have you ever heard of the dance called whip? Okay, well, back then, the whip was very problems. You know, I mean, it was just a great dance. And I met her, and we just, it was like this immediately. And we've been together ever since. Now, ask me how many times I've danced since.
How many times?
In the last 35 years, 0.
I understand that you and Jeannie did a lot of traveling.
Yes, we did. We traveled all over the United States teaching people to dance. Yeah.
Tell us a story about one of your favorite moments during y'all's travels.
Oh, Lord, there goes the dementia. I'd have to ask my boss about that. Hey, you know, do you know what the word dementia is?
Yes, sir.
Trust me. The stuff that is in your brain that tells you what you used to do, take that out. And that's what dementia is. And I have to ask my wife all the time, the blah, 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 blah. You know. So it is what it is, and I'm really lucky that I have a lady like that with me and on my side, and that's the way it is.
Tell us, how did the war affect your physical and mental health when you returned?
My physical? Well, every time I turned around, I was in the hospital. Got blown up twice. One here and one here. This is all metal here. You can call me a hardhead if you want to, because it's correct. But you know, you can either frown or smile, and I don't like frowning. But one of the things that I did pick up when I was over in the east part of the world, I found out what karate was. And I didn't have anything else to do because there wasn't a place to go to, you know. So I started taking karate lessons. And now I'm a 4th degree black belt. And matter of fact, I even used to teach it. But I don't now. I haven't messed with it in years. But the other side of that is I also caught a guy, I don't know how long ago it was because I can't remember. But I was at Walmart, and I came out of Walmart, and a guy was trying to break into my truck. Well, I gave him a free karate lesson. And he left there in a what's those red things with the bubbles on the top?
Oh, an ambulance.
That's it.
Looking back at the war, do you think that it was right or just for America to be in the Vietnam War?
Absolutely. Man, I'm going to tell you what. what those people lived with before we got there, it was awful. And when we left, oh, it was great. I'm serious. Yeah, it really helped them a lot.
How did you feel about war coverage from the news, whether it be in the paper or on television?
Well, I'd like to show you a finger, but I'm not going to right now. Let me put it this way. I was not real happy with them, because how many of them had ever been in a war? The answer is zero.
Did it disappoint you to
Absolutely.
see the war protest that were happening in the United States?
Absolutely.
How'd that make you feel?
Well, fortunately, I had people around me that say, just remember, there's nothing that you can do about it, even if you don't like it and you hate it, but there's still nothing you can do about it. And if you try to do something about it, you're going to end up in trouble. Well, I don't need trouble. So,
During that time, did you trust and support our American leaders, that they were making the right decisions, that were putting our troops in harm's way?
well, that's a 50-50. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, look at it this way. How many people that run this country right now, now I'm talking about lawyers, how many of them have ever been in the military? And then, how many of them have ever been in a war zone? You know what the answer is? And it's really sad to me. But nothing I can do about it. I know one thing that I am happy about is I'm glad that they sent me to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, 7 miles from where I was born and raised, and I trained astronauts in a weightless environment in a swimming pool the size of a football field, 65 feet deep. And I'm going to tell you what, man, that's a job. And I mean, I'd go to work at 7 in the morning and I'd be at home at 11. Because see, you weren't allowed to die once in a day.
Have your views changed over time about the Vietnam War from when you were serving to now?
No, not a bit.
How did you feel when the war was over?
Happy.
Why?
It was done. Well, look at it this way. I don't know if you've ever done any history on Vietnam before the war versus now. Now, that place is a great place. And I've actually been back there.
Tell us about that.
It's a beautiful place. Hello?
Is there any part of your wartime experience that you want to share to future generations of Americans?
I think that the first thing that I would say is reopen the military draft. Because the kids coming up today, they don't have a clue what reality is. And if you took one of them right now and you here's you a rifle, and you're going to go over in the war, and they're going to go, huh? Because they don't know a damn thing about it. That's just the way it is. And to me, that's not good. We need people that learn along the way, especially when they're younger, how to do things to, take care of the United States, man. And the kids today don't have a clue.
Is there anything else that I should ask you?
Are you buying lunch?
It's on me.
Hey, remember, son, you got two things in life. You can frown or you can smile. And I don't like frowning. So,
Warren, thank you for your service to our country.
not a problem.
Thank you for
I
sharing.
feel like I'm very lucky to do it.
Thank you for sharing your story with all of us.
Not a problem.
Asked me a question a while ago about anything that I thought would be important correction or anything, something like that.
When Warren returned to the United States from Vietnam and left the Navy, what did Warren do after that?
He actually went to the University of Houston on his GI Bill, okay, where he actually was admitted to the IBEW, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. It's the union for electricians, and they had a school at the University of Houston, and he was admitted to that school. They have a 4-year program, but he was able to finish it in 2 years because of his trainings that he had in the Navy. And he turned out as a journeyman electrician. And he did that for 5 years. He drove a service truck and did all that kind of stuff. And that company sent him to NASA for an electrical job. And when he went to NASA that day, he ran into a guy named Bill Moran, who was his instructor in the Navy, a diving instructor. And Bill said, "You're not going to be working on the electrician part of it anymore. You're coming to work as a diver." And Warren said, "Okay." And from then on, he served as a diver for the training program with the astronauts. And when he wasn't participating in that, then he worked as an electrician with the contractors that were there at NASA. Yeah. And so he did. The reason he got that job was because he could do both things. And so he was very employable. And it's hard for him to remember that because it was only maybe 5 years out of 50, that he did that. But the electrical journeyman electrician thing has served him very well in his life.
I could say it really opened the doors.
Yes, it opened big doors for him. He probably would not have gotten to NASA and with that astronaut training program had it not been for the electrician stuff. And so he kind of discounts that in his memory, but it was a very crucial piece of his history.
I got one question.
Yeah.
What memory?
We laugh a lot.
Hey, you know what? I was raised by parents that said you can either frown or you can smile.
Yeah.
And I don't frown.
The other thing that he has not mentioned, okay, when he was in college at Stephen F. Austin, his roommate dated my roommate at Sam Houston State. Okay, we had a blind date. It was the blind date from hell. It was awful. And not long after that is when he went to the Navy. Never saw him again. And then we ran into each other on the dance floor many years later, And he was right about that. When we connected on the dance floor, it was like we had known each other all our lives. Well, there was a little piece there that said, yes, we had known each other, but neither one of us remembered it. So it was one of those little things.
Proof that I had dementia then too.
No, that was convenient forgetting is what it was.
Well, like I say, you know, you can frown or you can laugh. All right. That's just the way I was raised, man.
Okay.
Uh,
That was the only
I was
piece,
trained
I think.
if you have to frown, it's time to get up and walk away immediately. And that's the
true.
way I've lived my whole life. That's just the way it is.
The other piece that he hasn't really talked about is how much he loves Heroes Night Out.
Oh, I do.
And I made him a promise that if there ever came a time in his life when he could not get here on his own, that I would bring him. And I have followed up on that promise. I bring him every time he's able to come.
Yeah, see,
We
she's
come.
the one that will not let me drive my '56 Chevy anymore.
When you get through all of this doctor business, baby, you'll be able to drive again. So the doctors tell us that.
T-Boo, which is the name of my car. T-Boo is, every time I go out in the garage, I've always got the, you know,
The hood. The
what's-
hood.
the hood. That's it. That's what. And I'm cleaning, you know, doing whatever. Okay. And I'm still getting things on my fingers.
Cuts and bangs and stuff.
You know, it is what, if you're a car guy, it just, right here and right here, it's hard to get away from that. And I was raised a car guy. So, it is. Now, and I've got a lot of, I have a lot of cars in the past, but I only have the one now. But my wife will, before she gets a chance to tell me I'm wrong, but I also have a Toyota pickup truck that is now
A classic.
a classic truck. It's now 26 years old. And it was the very first one that Toyota made. That's the first truck that they had ever made. And I bought one of them. And what's funny now is our kids are fighting over the Chevy and the truck.
That's all I had that I thought was a little bit off. So
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Hey, pleasure, man. You know, like I say, I was raised to smile and laugh. And when I was in Japan, I learned martial arts. And I also fell in love with that. And I did a lot of that around the country. And I'm talking about the United States. Competition. Yeah. And yeah, I'm a 4th degree black belt. How many times have I done it since I wasn't doing it?
long time.
0.
Okay.
Thanks, Warren.
Thank you.
You bet.